The heart cannot love what the mind does not know. And the soul cannot embrace what self hasn't grown to understand. Hi, my name is Oge Okoli, and I'm here with an interesting segment or series that's going to take us about 3 different episodes. Trust me, you don't want to miss any of this. We're going to be exploring the Book of Esther. There are ancient wisdom that are needed, in a time such as this, concerning self-awareness and how it's related to us building healthy relationship. Stay with us. So with me today to do justice to this topic, I have on my right my very good friend, and on my left my very good friend. They are taking their time to go into introduce themselves now before we dive deep into this topic. All right. So,
Hi, my name is Esohe Gift Ariwodo. Thank you.
you sure you just gifts the gift of life.
Yeah.
And you?
Hello everyone, my name is Wuraola Kolejo.
College. Have you ever heard that name before? That's royalty. All right. So the idea is we want to talk about the Book of Esther. I don't know if any of you have ever read the Book of Esther, but if you haven't read, just sit and relax. You are in need to see, get to hear wisdoms that are not easily gotten by men. It's are divine. So stay with me as we run this. So we're going to start with Auntie Wura. Let me talk to her. All right. So we're not going to be reading the entire Bible story, but because we have read it, so we're just going to take it, one step or the other. Right. So let's start with Queen Vashti. And there's no way we'll talk about Queen Vashti that you won't talk about the king. I'm sorry. Excuse me. It's interwoven. Right. So what do you think about the king? First of all, describe the king. Let us know who is the king himself.
If you look at the beginning of the book, we are told the extent of his power. This is a king that ruled over 127 provinces, like countries, across continents.
Yeah.
So that tells you that this is a powerful person. I mean, not just a husband, not just a king in one kingdom, 127. So for him to call a kind of banquet for 120
Something
days,
yes. Afterwards, it's an extra one again.
It's not just to have fun. There was a mission to be accomplished by doing that. So it wasn't just a celebration. He had all his men, all his generals, there. It was to pass a message to show them why he was king and their leader, why he was worthy of being their leader. So if you look at the beginning of the book, it talked about him showing them the extent of his wealth as well. Each of these people were wealthy in their own right. They controlled, a certain kingdom each, but he ruled over every one of them. So in that kind of a scenario, the beginning shows us that this was a strategy. Do you understand? A power strategy, just to show his dominance across the kingdom. And if a king has to do that, that means that probably trouble was brewing somewhere that needed to be quenched to show how mighty he was. His people show loyalty to him. That was why they were present. So power doesn't just do celebrations because, we want to throw a party. These people left their kingdom to come and honor. It's like in politics. Your godfather is throwing a party. You are there because you want to show loyalty, not because you are coming to eat and drink.
That's right.
It's not, why not? Do you understand?
That's
So
right.
if you are not there, it means that you are not in that carcass.
Oh
You are an
my
enemy.
God.
Do you understand? So it's
All
to
right.
recognize those that are with you. So it's not just a flimsy celebration of just eat and drink for that length of time. Besides being a husband to Queen Vashti, He has that much power. So if you're married to that kind of a man, you know that everything he does is not just in the interest of the family, is in the interest of his kingdom, his empire.
That's right.
So whatever decision comes from him, directive comes from him, should be processed first with him in mind as a king, not just as your husband.
Let's hear from Gifts. Just a brief summary of your understanding of who the king was.
Who the king is. Oh, sorry, who the king was. Right? Okay, like she's rightly said. It is true that all of the people who came out didn't just come out to eat and drink. And I think the example she gave was a perfect one. Just like politicians, right? Everybody will come around just because they want to come and pay their royalty, mostly, right? And like the story was written, the event took place for 120 days. Do you know what that means?
20.
Even the queen herself would have been exhausted, right? She herself would have been exhausted for 120 days. And if you look at it in a way, okay, we're not diving into the...
Yes, I'm trying not to go into politics. Yes. Let's just focus. Yes, because it's important for us to understand the story.
Let me pick from what she said.
Yes, just stay on the king.
Like, in my
what
opinion...
kind of a man? That's what I want to get. What kind of a man?
Like, in my opinion, like one of the kings did. I can't remember the king who did that. Who, when his other, other kings came from other kingdom, who brought out all the treasuries in his kingdom.
That was Ezekiel or something.
I think that was Ezekiel or something. That's a way to show your superiority over others. Do you understand? So from the story, we could tell that he was a powerful king. So that's it.
So ordinarily, what we're trying to say is that he is, or he was rather, a powerful king. A man who had some level of leadership skills that helped him to run about 127 provinces.
Yeah.
That's quite much.
That's a lot.
So if he's able to run this and run it effectively, keeping these people under his wings, that he must be a very powerful king. And
Absolutely.
I think I agree with us.
Absolutely.
But let's let him be for a while, because I'm coming back to that.
Yes.
So tell me, just a brief understanding of the woman, the Queen Vashti.
Now, if you look at the story...
Don't give us a 4 yet. Let's not run too much. I just want to understand.
I want to,
just her character. What characterized her kind of person? What exactly? Personality is the word. Okay, what will you look at her and say, she's this kind of person, or she's that kind of person? In a very short term. Then we'll dive in deep into all the face of it.
Okay. Just in a sentence, I wrote.
Look, for Queen Vashti, I'll say that she was a woman that did not, she placed her emotions above her position.
No, I don't talk about her duties now.
Okay.
What she did or what she does, what she didn't do.
Her personality.
Yes, her personality. How from the story?
Okay,
what can you deduce and say Vashti was this kind of woman, or was this kind of king? In fact, if possible, in a very short terms, just give us.
Hold on. For Queen Vashti, all we have of her is her response to the king's message.
Okay.
That was the totality of her description of her
personality.
She understands, yes.
Yeah.
Now, in that brief period, you find out that if you were a good person in any position, people around you, even when you make a mistake, will try to cover you up.
Yeah.
These people went to deliver her message back to the king in verbatim. She understand? She was under pressure at that time to, she was hosting other queens as well. So she too must have been under some sort of pressure. But, sometimes you have a conversation with somebody in private, you would not go say that to your leader. But because, you just say it flippantly, she understand? You don't expect that it to be communicated in verbatim because you're not there to do that. But what has been your character in your relationship with all these people prior to that time? How have you behaved? Have you been an arrogant person that they are like, okay, this is the opportunity to just show you that, okay, you are not all that? Because she should have been nice to these people prior to this time. If she made that mistake of talking, saying something she shouldn't have, they wouldn't have gone to deliver the message like that.
I think so.
Yes, let me tell you something. The
Just hold
Yorubas
this.
have-
Hold this, please.
Wait.
Okay.
If I'm a good person to you, and I say something that I really shouldn't, if you can't correct me right there, and you're going to relay the message, you will try as much as possible,
Mm-hmm. What if I don't like you personally?
That is
I don't
what
like
I'm
you?
saying. See, it can't be bad.
Personally, when I don't like you.
It wasn't one person that came to her. Well, there were about 4 of them.
No, those
They were
people,
sent.
the people who came were the Enoch.
Yes. So
They are
why
the
did
king's
the 4 of them?
servants.
Yeah.
They were the king's special servants.
Yes.
But let's leave there.
The Chamberlain.
And she has been the queen.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, and realizing that no matter how close you are to the king, the queen has his heart. She could get you guys
No,
fired.
wait.
You
I
understand?
disagree with you to a point.
in my opinion.
No, to a point. Let's just hear what she has said.
In my opinion, individual differences and our temperaments, regardless of our upbringing, determines our responses in some ways. A natural extrovert, even without the king calling her to come out, will want to show herself up. If the king is ruling over 127 provinces, obviously she's a queen as well. So she's ruling the same thing, right? So she's a female figure. She's an authority figure in a way too that other females are actually looking up to.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
And they were right.
Which you would have thought that, okay, a regular female will want to come out. In my opinion, right, I would say it is possible she's an introvert. She might just be someone who doesn't like to show herself up.
I think so.
Oh, let me.
So let me give my perspective
Okay.
of what I think the character is or personality is.
Okay.
For a king who runs or rules 127, that's large. I don't think such a king will marry a feeble woman.
Exactly.
Well, feeble.
No, when I mean feeble,
Minded woman doesn't.
a woman who is. I'm not
hold
saying.
that position.
I'm not saying.
An
No,
introvert.
I'm not
Okay.
coming with your word
I get that,
introvert.
I get that, okay.
I'm just coming with my own explanation of what I think. She's intelligent. She was beautiful.
Definitely.
Very beautiful. For her to be able to attract the heart of the king. Remember, the king has all the concubines too. That comes to him rather, when he calls or when he chooses, if you follow the story, right? We're just trying to elaborate the story. The story is not exactly what the lines, you will look at it beyond what the lines are, right? So for her also to be able to, run her own show, being able to gather the other women under her own wings, while the king is also hosting these other men, she must be very intelligent and have some level of leadership skill.
Yeah.
She's not a regular chick. No, I'm just coming. She's not a regular chick in any way, right? Right. So I believe she is very powerful. In fact, if time is not taken, she's an alpha woman.
Definitely.
That's my perception of her. She is an alpha woman who already has some level of leadership, whatever. And I'm sure, if you see a man who is confident and who is very powerful most of the time and all that, they usually prefer women who are also
not just prefer, they are attracted
to women who are confident
because that quality,
yes,
quality attracts.
Yes, you will not see, yes, that can handle power, can run shoulder to shoulder with them. Of course, not disrespecting, but running shoulder to shoulder, like, you understand this game, you understand why I am here, the assignment, why we're here, and and I like the fact that King also gave her room to operate, because that's what I saw there.
Yeah.
The king gave her room to be herself and also flow in her own character or in her own personality. Because if not, why would the king be hosting and you two are hosting?
Also hosting.
At the same time, your ladies.
Somebody has
No,
to
that's why.
entertain the women.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. That's
a
why.
role model on her own.
Yes. No, the king could have decided that, okay, I'm hosting the entire party and everybody stays under my wing. That's
Like,
the king.
yes,
He could have
like-
said
like
that.
couples stay
Yes, that
together.
yeah, a couple stays together.
Yeah.
But he said, okay, go and do your women thing because I know you are good
because
in
it
doing
was
what
a
you are
more
doing.
of a state
Do you
event
understand?
with the men. It was
No, you are
actually-
still looking at it politically. I don't want to go politically yet. Who come there? I know you're a
Yes,
political woman. No, I don't want to go politically. For me, that's not what it says. I'm looking at the holistic nature view
Okay,
of this
have you
entire thing.
thought of the
Right?
fact that Queen Vashti, let me tell you, the way I see it, Queen Vashti had legitimate, reason for her position. But that was why I said in
For
my
her
first
position?
wait.
No,
for-
what
for
you
she
mean?
said. That was why when I
What she said about what? That-
wait.
We never
we're not
told
going-
how she
Hold
came
on.
into power.
Hold on, no, wait. When I said earlier that her response to the king's message, you understand, she took it from a personal level rather than him being
No, I
an
have-
authority.
No,
There
I
was
have
a
not.
reason
I
why
have not
said
even.
that.
That's why I said.
Well,
I
we've not
know
even gotten
we've
there
not
yet.
gotten there yet. We're just trying to
That's
describe
another
it.
thing.
Let's
Don't-
define her personality. That's what I'm telling you, that with all her power and everything, she was not a woman that would just get angry and just refuse the king just like that. She understand? Something must have happened, and that is where I want to go to.
And so don't go yet. Just wait for me.
All right.
Don't just go
Just
yet.
being nasty or being,
No,
what
the
do you call
truth,
it?
the
Disobedient or
truth is
whatever.
no, the
Can't call that
truth.
word
Yes, I'm
nasty,
saying the
but
truth
say
is that you cannot. To me, I
She
believe
doesn't wasn't
you
just
cannot.
disobeying.
You cannot go to talk about somebody's downside or
Yeah.
bad habits without also mentioning that this person was actually a good person as well.
Yes,
So I won't
There's
be
a
in that
character.
position in the first,
First place.
Yes.
Do you
I've been able
understand?
to
Yes.
attain that position.
Now
in the
let's
first place.
take it.
She must
Let's
have been
take it a
qualified.
step higher.
Okay.
Let me not take it a step higher.
Okay.
Because we need to really digest this properly,
Properly,
and
yeah.
I really want to talk about the modern woman.
Yeah,
In
we're
in
going
this
there.
space.
Comparison, yeah.
Yes. So, but I need us to understand her, and let's now come back to the modern woman or today's woman,
Yeah.
and let's now know how does this also work in our lives, or how does it affect everybody who is married or who is in a serious relationship. Is presumed that whoever you are with is your king, particularly when you are married. Do you understand? If you're married, he's your king in his own kingdom.
In fact,
Do you understand?
biblically,
Bibli-
he's your Lord.
He's your Lord.
God means to lord over
Do you,
someone.
no, wait, don't go there first. Wait first. Wura, wait. Let your body not to be hot. Get it too hot. Be calming down. All right. So I want to now go. Wait now.
I'm listening.
For me, I think from what I read or what I was able to get out of that story, because I took my time actually. I was like, who is this woman? How were you able to hold on to this man and you got the crown in the first place? There are so many, yes. There are so many women, yes. But this one person got the crown. If you have gotten the crown, though, we're not told how the crown was gotten.
That's what
But
I say.
I don't care about how the crown was gotten.
It's not how the
And
crown was
all I know is that
She lost it.
do you understand? No, not the losing.
No, that she got it and
the
maintained it for that
getting
period
it,
of
may
time.
God bless you, and maintaining it for that period of time.
Yeah, means that there was something.
Yes.
She brought something to the table.
Yes. You cannot tell me she didn't bring anything to the table.
Yes, they've been on
She
the
wasn't
phone for
just
3
there.
years.
I will bring, don't worry, I will bring back.
So she must have.
No,
been-
I will bring back in between.
Oh,
We're
3
going to
years.
tell you
Yes, now this was
where
before
I saw.
3 years.
I don't want to run
Yes.
faster than my shadow. If not, I would have said, okay, let me tell you one of the things that got me to understand that the king actually loved, we're going to get that, loved Queen Vashti
Yeah,
very deeply,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So now let's go to the character, the whatever that they got displayed, and of course that misplaced her from the palace at the end of the day, which you were trying. You got to go. She's so eager to go into.
She can't wait to be there.
She can't wait to be there. Wait, let me ask you the question.
We'll be there. We'll
Please
get
answer
there.
the question the way I'm asking
We'll
you.
get there.
We'll get there. Relax,
Yeah, we'll get
relax. Don't light her up yet. Don't light her up. Easy. All right.
No, it's actually good if we all have different perceptions, right?
Yes, that's
we
what I'm
can't actually
saying.
think alike.
Yes,
because
no,
our
no,
journeys
I
are different.
yes, I agree
so
totally.
that's the beauty.
That's the
beauty
idea
of this
to bring it.
conversation.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's bring your perspective. I bring my perspective. You bring your perspective, and I will believe at the end of the day we'll have a well diluted conversation that will really help someone there,
Out there.
some out there. All right, so let's talk about the misplacement of Queen Vashti. what you so what so heavily.
See, Queen Vasi is actually is a woman that I actually admire.
So no, don't admire again now.
No, wait. Let me tell you something. She's the modern woman, really. But unfortunately, what I see play out in that scenario was that, like I said earlier, she placed her emotions above her duty at a critical point in the kingdom. I was saying earlier that this banquet was more of, an administrative function, not necessarily a leisure function.
For me, it was a leisure function.
Wait, you don't throw that for how many days and invite all?
For me, it was a leisure function. The
Okay,
scripture,
that is
the scripture
That's
said,
administrative.
yes. At that point, it wasn't maybe
Let me
political,
just
but
go to
the
point that I'm going
the
to.
Bible quickly made it very clear that the king is such a wealthy man, and the party was like a display of his wealth.
He wanted to
Kí
show
ni tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe party? Just tell me what's the meaning of pé mo host ẹ̀.
Yes.
Yes, come, let's
It's
enjoy.
120
Yes, we know
days.
that other political G's could go on, underneath,
it was
but the idea was
for
mainly leisure.
Yeah.
I said,
You know
like,
what?
I can host you guys, Moko, then you sue me. I will.
Do you know what
You
it
know
means?
what? You know
So they didn't know what it
You know
means.
what?
People will go home, come back the
You
next
can
morning.
have that opinion,
120
but I'm
days.
speaking from a place of somebody who has been, within that space.
Okay.
Do you understand? That is why I'm telling you that parties like that are not just a celebration. Something bigger is actually. Now, if you look at this scenario, the display went on for how many days?
120 days.
120 days.
And another
Now,
extra 8 days.
this was him displaying his wealth. Now, a man's possessions are a symbol of his, pride,
Power and
ego,
authority.
power and authority.
Yeah.
But his woman is a symbol of his honor.
That's right.
Do you understand? A man can lose every other thing and, may not fall apart. But if he loses his woman, that is his honor going. He did not display his wife until after that, at the time he was displaying his wealth. He did not call for the display of his wife.
That's right.
Because he knew that, that was a sacred part. That position was so viable to be displayed. But after drinking, as in the Bible records that he had gotten married.
Yeah,
I'm happy that she said
Hold
drinking.
on. See, this is where I'm going to. So that I'm going to the point where Queen Vasi's, position on the matter, on her response that she gave, she was kind of. Let me just get there.
Exactly,
She knew
just
that
get there already.
the king making that decision at that time to display her was wrong in two ways. Number one, if a regular man gets drunk and says things, you mock him, people joke and jest. When a king, whether drunk or not, says anything, it is law. She understand? Now, if she actually goes before him at that time, in a drunken state, if he says that, okay, as beautiful as Queen Vasi is, okay, anybody that does this can have the queen, it is law. It becomes done. Do you understand? Which is not only disrespect to the queen, but to his own honor, because he has to uphold that word once he goes out. Whatever he says, whether drunken state or not, is law. Do you understand? So Queen Vasi understood that message beyond just what was said. If he says anything at that spot,
So you are confusing me now.
At the initial stage, the king didn't send for her, right? Now, before it was written that the king sent for her, it was already written that he was already married. They had obviously he has taken so much drinking.
Yes.
Now, the question I actually want to ask her is, where did the emotion come in here? Because if you're saying
Which
that,
emotion?
no, you're saying Esther Vashti, sorry, not
Yes.
Esther, that Vashti put her emotion out. She was more emotional.
Yes.
Now, if you say that because he was drunk was the reason he sent for her, do you think she should have responded knowing that he was drunk?
The queen knew then that, if this man takes, this decision that he took in the first place was not a good one under the constitution which he took it. Now, her appearance there, if he takes any further wrong decision, when his eyes clears, he won't be able to take back that word.
So I'm surprised
So she would have handled it better That was why I said that. She saw it from an insult, sending for her to come and be displayed. She understand? She did not see it as in, this is your king, your head, whom you are supposed to protect. He is actually in a vulnerable state right now. He has made the wrong decision. I need to find a way. She's still my husband. I need to find a way to turn this
becoming
around.
hotter than I thought.
Sorry if I'm right. Was there anywhere it was written something about her clothing or something? Or the way
She should put on the royal robe. That was what he requested to come and be displayed.
All right. So you know what? Let's get into Vashti's shoe, right? Okay. Let's put it like I said. If I am Vashti, right, and my husband is the king, and he calls me to come and dance, right? Now, don't forget, like the scripture recorded, he called her to come and he wanted to display her beauty. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's what the Bible said, that he wanted to display her beauty. So he probably wanted to show off how beautiful, how elegant
what I have.
his wife is. Now, the truth is this, like I was discussing with her. The Bible says wisdom is profitable to direct. A wise woman does what? Builds her own home. Now, considering the class of people the king sent to fetch her, the Bible called them the chamberlains, which were the right-hand men of the king. Meaning, in a way, that was a way to honor her, right? Like he didn't just send anybody. He didn't send the low-class kings. Okay, so if I am, like we said, I'm in Vashti's shoe. Being in Vashti's shoe, what will I do? Right? What will I do? Okay, now, I know fully very well, he wants to display my beauty, my elegance. He wants everybody to see how gorgeous his wife looks. If a wise woman does not want to go out, because the message that was brought back to the king was exactly what they were told by Vashti, that she wasn't coming, which was not only an insult to the king, but to the entire men in the kingdom, which was what his king's men were really concerned about.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, it wasn't the king that took the decision to dethrone her, right? So what anyone would think a modern woman should have done is, you could tell them you're coming. You're on your way. Obviously, they might not leave because they actually, if I'm right, they're actually supposed to go. She's actually supposed to go with them. Because they probably would wait for her to dress up and they'll walk her, you do understand, to the dancing floor. So, if wisdom is profitable to direct, like the Bible says, I would have expected Vashti to send a word to the king, or to go and meet the king herself, whisper into his ears, oh my love, I'm sorry I can't do this, I'm actually tired, or we've been on this journey for some days and I'm actually exhausted, I'm tired, I can't do what he actually wants me to do. Because if she had sent, Bible says, what's that word? It says soft answer turns away wrath.
Right. Yeah.
If Esther had sent a word of wisdom to the king, I don't think because he wouldn't have said no. What got the king's men angry and the king angry was that, how do you give us a public disrespect? Because if you listen to one of the king's men said, the one that actually helped the king the king actually did not take that decision. He said, do you know that this offense from the queen is actually not to you, the king, alone? It's also to all the men in the kingdom, 127 provinces. And the truth is that it would have caused more damage.
It would have set some precedents that maybe they won't be able to recover from for years to come.
Years to come.
Which
in fact,
is
generations to come. Because at the end of the day, you realize that because she's a role model, every other women were going to disrespect their husbands in different ways and manners. If she could do that to the king and she goes scot-free. Because if we study carefully, you realize that the king actually didn't have time to even think. He didn't have time to think. You know how it is when people are in your head, day in, day out. they are giving you reasons. Every time he tries to think, somebody is telling him something else. So in my own understanding, I thought I would have expected Esther not to bluntly tell the king that she can't come or that she isn't coming. I mean, you can't disobey your head. You can't disobey your king. You know, like Wura rightly said, first, she has to understand that first, she's a husband, and then he's a husband, and he is her king. So if she wasn't the king's wife, would she bluntly disobey the king in public like that? You know, it's like a pastor's wife.
Exactly.
Like a pastor's wife.
Exactly.
You have to see the priestly office. And you have to see your own office as a wife. Like you have to see him as a priest and as a husband. So there are times you address him, there are times you can't address him in church as a husband. You address him as a pastor.
There are two points I would like to also ask on that perspective, where the men or the servants who took the message to the king and then of course gave the suggestions about what should be done to Queen Esther. And the reason why they said that one particular person said, one of the servants said, King, if you don't do anything about this, all the women would disrespect their husbands in this manner.
Which is true.
Whether big or small. I remember that statement. So whether the husband is big or small, I'm taking that in. I'm going to ask a question on that.
Okay.
So because I want us to take our eyes a little bit off the kingship thing on the outside.
Okay.
Let's bring it back home,
as a
right?
husband.
As a husband. Let's never look about, because we tend to magnify the idea that he's a king, is king. So let's even leave that aspect of is a king. For me, before I ask that question, I quickly want to talk about what I think Vashti did and shouldn't have done. And like I stated earlier, what I think who Vashti is. No, Vashti, who she is exactly. She's a woman who has some level of confidence and all that. And she's been given that opportunity to display her role properly. I believe the husband, is the kind that celebrates the wife's success. It's not the type that, covers the wife's glory. You understand? For him to shine more. Yes, But what I want to believe happened there, irrespective of how tired or whatever you mentioned,
she would have
gone with a royal robe. It was saying like, as if for what the king said or from how it was being discussed, as if it's part of the culture, kind of that if I call you forth to come down and answer me, you must come, with that your queenship robe and appear. Yes, appear before me. Yes, appear before me. Remember, if you read on later on, you understand that if the king does not call you, you cannot come. Whether you like be queen or not be queen, is when they call you, you can come into the inner court. This is the inner court.
Which is a privilege.
Yes, which is a very big privilege. Let's even not go because it's the wife of this man we're talking about. I don't want to mention too much about the king being whatever. But I want to say, and that will be my next question. To me, I believe that the leadership or the confidence or the power she enjoyed, which is in the past, got into her head. 3 points. I'm celebrating my own thing. That's how I saw it. Because for me, you could have gone to answer the king if you're that wise. For the fact that the king did not call you on the phone like we have a phone. It was not a whispered information. It was an opened call.
Exactly.
Like you said, 127 provinces, leaders from different walks of life were there. All you could have done, if I have to accept what Wura said about the king being drunk, if I have to even accept that,
she's actually right.
That's your perspective. I don't believe that he was drunk to the point of stupidity. I did not believe that.
I think he was.
No, I don't know. That's your perspective. From what I read, I don't think that I don't want to perceive that the king
was drunk.
Yes, can be that. Okay, I don't want to go. It's like I said, it's not about the king, but I don't want to believe that the king, who is that powerful, should not know what his limits as a king should be, because at that point you will lose even your wise counsel.
It's 120
I understand
days,
you. Yes,
madam.
I understand you. Of course, they weren't just drinking and drinking. They were eating and sleeping and waking
Absolutely.
up. They weren't just partying and
And of course, the
partying.
drink
But
is stirring up.
like I said, it's not about the king for me.
Okay, it's
The
about Vashti.
story is about Vashti. So let's just stay where Vashti is. So for me, I want to say it was a height of disobedience. For me,
Agreed.
It was a height of disrespect.
Agreed.
You could have gone to that, answer that call, and then
At
just
least.
go and say, our king, do a whisper.
Do you understand?
Women
Give
have
him a
this
hug,
power.
give
There's
him
a
a
way.
hug.
There's a way we
Even
go
in
about
the
this
public,
thing.
come out in that. In that
Shebi na you call me,
yes,
come
do you
display.
understand?
Let's display the thing we want to display by. Do you understand? But it's just like his ego was bruised at that point. Let's even assume that like you said, he didn't say anything. But I want to imagine the king's look. Emisha,
For real?
did you mean that way? You called her. She did not
I said
answer.
for
She
you.
said she's not coming. Is that what you
in
are
the presence
saying?
of- No.
The servants gone. They're not trying. They didn't even whisper it to the. Okay, let's even assume they whispered. And the king fled. So what? What did you say?
Even if they whispered, the people have an expectation.
No, that's something. God bless you.
an expectation.
Because he had made an announcement.
They're hoping
Bami
she will come out.
Kwe, go and bring me my queen. Out of maybe Mary or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And let's assume that they didn't even bring the answer.
He might try to introduce somebody
which,
to this
which,
party.
which I'm very sure the servants wouldn't have come that way. Say, king. He said she's not coming. They can even cut your head off coming to announce. But let me just assume that it was out of rage that he too blew up and said, what?
For real?
For real, she's not coming. And then everybody heard that. Do you understand? So I can imagine his rage, getting up from his kingship seats to enter whatever inner courts, and the servants are not suggesting that, king, you have to do something and all that. So for me, I just feel that was very disrespectful. And I would like us now to bring this to our today's life. So for being disrespectful, she was displaced, right? Out of her position. Of course, it was suggested by these men, which they have a right to suggest. Also, the king has a right to also say yes to this or no to that.
Of course, because their
Do
families
you
too were in
understand?
danger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was very clear. They had the point
They had a
where
good
they
point,
said,
a good point. Yeah.
nah, king, you cannot do this. Or you
Like
cannot.
you can't afford.
You can't afford to let this one slide.
Yes.
Because if it
You can't
slide,
slide.
it's going to be a pattern in
Exactly.
our women's life.
It's like a template to follow.
Yes, and like I said, she's a powerful person, right? She's also a
must
very
be,
powerful
yeah.
person. So let's now take this back. I want us to bring this, because I've heard a lot of stories whereby people in home, particularly if where the woman is earning more, or maybe she's well schooled, even while the husband is well schooled. We're talking about husband and wife thing now, and even relationship, the very serious relationship and all that, So I would like to ask again: have you ever in your lifetime what do you call it? Have you received breakfast?
Have you
been served breakfast, or were you the one who has served breakfast? But the question is not even about the breakfast. Because for a relationship that is ongoing to a particular point, if you're in a relationship with someone because you want something out of that relationship,
Absolutely.
and if that thing breaks, at the end of the day, right, what do you think, in your own perspective, cost from your own, not from the king? Let's leave the king, let's leave the man. Is there a way you contributed that every time you look back and say, shh, this was me? Just like I'm sure Queen Vashti, wherever she is, after the incident, she was like, ouch, I should have just have answered. I'm assuming.
Definitely she should have lots of regret.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I should have just answered. Maybe that would have saved
What
them.
would it have cost me?
So I want us to look at what are those things in your relationship that you ever look back and say, man, I messed up here.
Well, I think for me, I can only point to a relationship I could have had that I never had. Yeah. You know those days when you'll be thinking It's you that know God pass.
The spirit cocoa.
You know the spirit cocoa thing, where the brother has to be spiritual if he's not praying 5 hours, if he's not, do you get it? So I had some really wonderful brothers, well-raised brothers, who could have been one of the best husbands ever. But then I just felt, this guy can't even pray 30 minutes. Here am I praying for us. This guy can't even pray.
The sister.
Do you understand? But forgetting the fact that everybody grows in different level. Our journeys of life differs. The fact that you started late doesn't mean you cannot overtake the person who started before you.
Absolutely.
Right?
True.
There are brothers who make their wives punching bags. They still come to church and lift up holy hands. And we have unbelievers who are not even Christians, who have a beautiful home. Do you understand? So for me, if there's any regrets I'll have is that I have some awesome men I could have, journeyed with in life that somehow, because of my lack of knowledge, and I would call it a kind of self-pride. The Bible says knowledge puffs.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't even know when it's happening.
Yes.
I can remember at some points when I was in school, my pastor called me and said, Sister Gift, consider this person now. I said, Pastor,
Yes.
Pastor, you should think about, Pastor, this brother cannot pray for 30 minutes. So.
Oh my
Do you
God.
understand? So, but the truth is that it's actually beyond that. At least now we know better.
Now you
So
know
for
better.
me,
don't go to the
that's
better
my
because
bad-
I want to get to the point where you knew better.
switch, yeah.
Yes, I want to actually get to the switch. You are there. All right, Atiwura, please can you tell us in your lifetime, have you ever experienced? Of course, every one of us have experienced, downside in our relationship and all that. But have you ever in your lifetime looked back to say, I shouldn't have done this and I shouldn't have done that? And what is that thing that you think you didn't do right and possibly did not make relationship in your past worked better?
I think that for me, it's a matter of self-awareness first, who you are, what your goals in life are. So if being in a relationship with somebody is about, there is no wrong person, there can be a wrong fit. So, and being in a relationship, you are looking at, okay, this could lead to marriage, life partner, blah, 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 blah. Now, in that relationship, if you discover that you are a wrong fit, it's not a matter of somebody being wrong or not. It's a matter of, this is not going to work in the long term. So it's easier to let people go rather than hold on. For me, what I do is that once I realize that this is a wrong fit, I don't hold on. Do you understand? Because it's not just wasting my time, it's wasting the other person's time.
That's not the idea per se, right? It's about your regret, like we're talking about Vashti.
That's
like,
what I'm
if
saying.
he looks
For me,
back,
it's a matter of whether this is a right fit, because I understand what my goals in life are. I know where I'm going. So if what I look out for in a relationship is not a matter of doing something wrong, it's a matter of, can we go the distance? Are we a fit? If it's not a fit,
So are you trying to tell me that like in your past,
you don't have.
you have never had a relationship where
You wish it
think
worked out or
worked
something.
out? No, you are even in a fit already, but along the line it didn't work.
yes, I've had
And
that.
that probably that you were the fault.
So it doesn't even have to be
That's
big
what I'm
of
saying,
a.
that it's not a matter of fault.
No. There's always a fault one way or
We're
the
not
other.
perfect.
You already believe that you were perfect fit. That's the question. I'm taking from what you said now,
Exactly.
because you can't say that all relationship you have been in
They were
not all perfect fits
I
for
mean,
you. So why were you in the relationship in the
In the
first
first place, you should have seen them.
Do you understand? You should have seen if you have failed in
If
one.
you're that perfect, you should have
Yes,
seen
no,
them.
if you have failed in one, failed in two, and then let's assume number three, you should have known that no, this value is not there. This value is not. You'd have had the
We are not in
parameter.
alignment.
Yes,
Yes.
we're not in alignment. This is like looking like the first one I saw. No. It's looking like the second one.
Exactly.
So you shouldn't have even been.
Something goes wrong.
Right, but what we are saying is that. Okay, so are you trying to say that relationship that you have been into, any of them got broken because you guys were not just a match or a fit, like you said, if I have to use the right word, without having to say there were some sort of dispositions from you or from him yes, that could have, marred the relationship. That's where the question is now. But particularly, we are talking about ourselves now as women, because the story is centered around Vashti, not the man. We're coming to the man's gist later on. But right now, the focus is on the woman. Where do you think you got it wrong and that caused your relationships? The ones that you were into, not the ones you intend to go into, and then you look at it and say, oh, this is not the fit. All right? Or possibly the one that could have worked, and maybe later on you saw that
you realized
if there was anything like that ever. So the question is, what was the issue with you? For me, we are able to digest that Queen Vashti was in a marriage relationship, and her level of disrespect for me, which I believe whatever royalty or power she has disposed to herself, got into her head and made her lose that position that she had. So let's assume that she has quietly even displayed the king somehow before, and then it's repeating itself in the public domain, because something you see in the public domain with some things would have started happening.
It's been happening inside.
But I just don't want to go into that details.
That's right.
So what do you think that you could have done wrong, or you could have looked back and said, I should have done better? And
probably could have worked.
Yes, could have worked if I had done things like this, or if I had gone like this.
See, a woman is created as a helpmate first. There has to be a vision you are helping to meet. Now, if the vision is not, if it's not clear to you, what are you going to help to meet? Now, if you look at the case of Vashti, for me, you say that the height of disrespect, that is what you choose to focus on. For me, I choose to focus on the fact that she mismanaged the situation. The situation.
It's the same thing. No, sorry. You now use the word. I don't want us to go back to Vashti. Now you use the word mismanaged. So whether it's mismanaged, there's an heel character. Do you understand? That deflected that relationship. So that heel character in our own lives is what we want to look at. What were those things? Because I wanted to know what has brought about our growth. You understand? At what point that our switch started? We believe we're women here who had actually evolved. Right.
Absolutely.
Yes, we're women, we're not babies. So we have really evolved. And that's why you are on this show in the first place. I believe a woman who has gone through stuffs, and then over time, you've learned lessons, and then you have evolved, to become the woman that you are right now. And you want to talk about purpose, for example, or self or whatever. You didn't just wake up to understand your purpose. Yeah. You would have, gotten to jams of things and stuff like that, some level of failures, falling down and getting up, and then you end up saying, I'm exploring this journey to find out who I am or what exactly I seek, stuff like that. So is that four we are looking for? What was the four? Except you are telling me there was never any relationship that has been broken in your life, or you have never been into anyone. You're not under any components to answer any question. But the idea is that we just want to bring out some of those, supposed
key points.
Yes, key point of values that help us keep this relationship running.
Yeah. Apart from always being very strong from childhood, I had kind of like a clear-cut vision of where I'm actually going. Do you understand? And I understood that not just anybody could walk that journey with me that far.
Okay.
Do you understand? So for me, even apart from love, relationship and stuff, it's the same way I handle other relationships around my life. I don't just say, okay, because this person is close to me, or for whatever reason, wait until a deal breaker happens. There are some things you see from a distance. And for me, if you're asking, okay, what is that thing that was a deal breaker for me that I couldn't go beyond and blah, blah, blah. For me, it's been like not listening to God at a moment, only to continue and find out, wait, there's really no way forward from this. So I need to go back and listen to that voice and just, get this over with.
At what point?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So are you saying now, I'm sorry, it's really difficult. I've been trying to hold myself. It's hard for me to talk and not talk about my pastor. We don't have to mention names. You know when you are impacted by someone, when you have drunken so much from someone, unconsciously you talk about them. Do you get? Now, I remember some time ago, my pastor was preaching, ministering, and he gave an instance about a relationship. He said there's size 10 gloves, there's size 12 gloves, right?
I know who said that, but my pastor too.
Now, wonderful
I'm
pastor.
mentioning
Do you
that
understand?
name. I'm mentioning it.
No. Don't let's get there. Do you understand? Now, the size 10 gloves and the size 12 gloves, their functions are the same. The difference is that they are different sizes. So if you're a size 10 hand, it means you can't wear a size 10. It won't fit in, right? Now, are you saying now that in all your journeys of life, nobody has been able to fit into your vision?
See,
Do you get? Who is confused, you or them?
You are imagining that I've had that many relationships.
No,
I
you
had
over
only three
emphasizing.
relationships.
You over emphasizing.
I had only three
Hold on.
relationships.
Hold
Do you know
on.
that?
We don't need to know the number.
No. Since you are saying it's not about many relationships.
For me, relationship.
Because
I don't
you
know what
are-
your precept for relationship is, but for me, from the background I come out from a polygamous home. Do you understand? I have scars from that. And for me, when you're talking lifelong relationship, it's not something I take lightly.
We're not talking about lifelong relationship
Hold on,
here.
please. Hold on,
We're
please.
talking about what has happened in the
That
past.
is why I'm telling you that
This
is
is
when
the past,
I
and then-
do not want a repeat
Now
of things.
you are
understand?
talking.
When I see things
No, now
that
you are
will
talking.
not-
So let me help you.
that will not go the
Scars.
She
She had scars in her family
Growing up.
growing
You
up,
understand? I saw things
which
that
has
would not
becoming,
repeat.
which
Like a
you know,
defense.
which becomes. So became defensive.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, because from what you're saying,
You
you're-
were
you-
defensive.
Yes,
Your
you're
scar
defensive.
was speaking better or taking better of you.
My scar was saying, okay, don't take this kind of thing. It's not something that you should
No,
allow.
that's not what your
Is
scar
that
was
what you're
saying. No, because you said something. I was coming to that before. Gifts, I had to ask you a question. You said something about that. Oh God, I'm missing that. You said something about you having to be in a relationship, right? And you realized that you were not hearing God about what God was saying. Yes, that you were not hearing God was your major issues and stuff like that. So the question I wanted to ask you, but indirectly you have given me what I wanted to hear.
What did I give you?
Wait, you just gave me one. You said it yourself now. We're not forcing it on you, but that's what you said. You already said that the scars wet. Yes, being extreme.
okay. That's
No,
very
being extreme careful is like walking on eggshell.
Absolutely.
Like I don't want to get out. No, please don't. That's being defensive.
So if anyone was
Yes.
even good enough, you probably wouldn't have
No,
listened.
it's wait, no.
You're not going to accept any.
No, being
keeping
extreme.
or abusive relationships,
No.
being
That's
defensive.
not.
That's
That's
not
not.
what
That's
we're
what we're
saying.
saying.
No,
And
we're talking
that's not you. That's not even her saying that she's not going to accept a kiniko relationship, whatever. For the fact she has mentioned that as cars did, but see. You speak from the inside some of the time when we talk, and we
From my
really-
experiences.
Yes, from experiences. See,
From my
our
pains.
pain
Yeah.
talks.
They do.
Our pain, wait,
No, we all
our
got
pain.
it. We all got it.
Oh, God, pain.
No.
Our
Everybody
pain
got it.
have voices
What pain you are
and they
talking about?
speak. Oh, don't bother about what pain I'm talking about.
You said it.
But you said it yourself.
Yes, I said I have because I witnessed some things that I know should not happen should not be repeated in my own home.
You didn't say you witnessed
So-
all alone. You mentioned about scars.
Yes.
So
that
when
is what I'm talking
when
about.
something is a scar on you, if you have learned a lesson,
Yeah.
If you're healed from it.
no, not even
happened,
heat,
yeah.
not even healing. You just learned that
These are things
but
that
it
should
shouldn't happen in my life. Oh.
Yeah.
That's even different. You mentioned there's a scar. That scar means that you have been dented.
So now you're the one now interpreting.
No,
what
I'm
saying.
using the tense
Maybe
the
you
word
should ask
they
me
use.
to clarify what
No,
I'm
there's not
saying.
even any clarifying. Let me just ask you a question. There's no need clarifying. Let's leave it so that we don't over stressed on this. So you said there was a point you discovered that you were not hearing God. So my question to you
No,
now.
I said.
Yes,
Yes, you
now.
said that.
You said
I
that.
said
Oh,
the relationship I had, I didn't listen. Not that I wasn't hearing.
That was the exact
I-
word you used. Say there was a time
I
when
didn't
you
listen.
realized that you were not
Just
hearing God.
I didn't listen.
Okay, at
Because
what
when
point?
I went further in it, and then I realized at the point that there was no way forward. in
So
the
at what
relationship.
point, what triggered What brought about you realizing that, I didn't listen to God. I shouldn't have been here. What was that? What brought about that turning point for you to now realize that, man, what was that? What was that? I don't say event, but what was that action? What truly happened? Can you just give a word or a face to it?
Like I said, I got into the relationship clearly because I was hearing God, and it got to a point that things happened that ordinarily should be like, okay, you can walk things through. I mean, you should work at a relationship and take it further. And then God is like, no, this should end here. Now, this is not going to work beyond this point. But I was more about, okay, I've put some years into this. I should, we can overcome this like every other thing.
As you have invested
that
time.
We should be able to get over this. If I cut my losses at that time, I wouldn't have done like extra 2-3 years in that relationship. She understand? So, but it took extra 3 years. It was actually fine. Things were going well. But it got to a point where it was more like we were growing apart. Our goals were no longer aligning. I came to the realization that, all these I wasn't really my full self. I was the person that fit into this relationship. There were aspects of me that he was not even ready to see. So I couldn't be the full me at a point anymore. I was becoming more like, okay, what he wanted.
What does he want?
Do you understand? What he was
You are transforming for him.
Do you understand? Yes, what he was comfortable with. And I got to the point where I was like, no, this is not
me.
You are in full. This is not. Do you understand?
You're not feeling yourself.
At all. It was more like I was becoming somebody else. I could not explore my full potential in life if I continued on that path. Because I would change more over time just to fit into what he was ready.
And you would have lost your identity totally. You wouldn't be you anymore.
The extra time I put in, maybe God had seen this, I heard that this was not going to work. But I was willing to give because I wanted to hold on. That's why I said, with what I witnessed in my childhood, as in with my parents, I was trying to, hold on and make it work. But it got to a point where I was like, no, Laura, this is not it. No matter how much time you invested in this relationship, how much you care about this person, long term, this is not going to work. You are going to disappear.
So the teen era.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's
I had to. It was hard because you are telling this is somebody you are invested in emotionally. But I needed to look at the bigger picture, the future me here, and my emotions for now were not the deciding factor. It's the future that I'm looking at.
So the future you were looking at, that's the one you were able to realize that you needed, was what possibly would have put a stop to a relationship that would have made meaning because it was not aligned. No, listen now. If it had aligned to what you had and what he had, but what we're saying is that they were not aligning to your person or to your purpose, and you felt there's a need for me to end this, and then you end it.
And you know what? Like a year or 2 years ago, we talked again, only to realize that, this relationship was perfect for the Wura of then. It was okay, we are good then. But the Wura now, no, we wouldn't have been on the same path. Do you understand? I've actually evolved from that time. So, in the present Wura and him, we wouldn't have made it.
Of course, for every woman,
So
at every
all
stages of life, we all evolve, right? Change is a constant thing. So who you could marry 20 years ago, who you could marry 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you probably wouldn't have been able to marry that person 30 years, 10 years after that time. If you were 25, by the time you turned 35, that person you dated 25 while you were 25, you probably wouldn't have been able to marry that person even while you were 35. Because you would have transformed. You would have discovered you more. You would have discovered yourself more. Do you understand?
You guys would have,
and possibly
it was a perfect one. Maybe possibly you guys would have grown together.
Evolvement. No, he would never have been able to receive this current Wura. Because I would have been, by now, I wouldn't be with this Wura.
Current Wura is a blow.
No, you
And
don't
I know the
understand.
current Wura too also had evolved as a result of her experiences.
Absolutely.
She has learned
I would have,
and she had gone.
I would have been a shadow of myself if I had remained in that
There.
relationship. Do you understand? And by now, I would have been choking. I
Or
would be
probably
like,
been out of it.
she understand?
Yeah.
So, in the long run, it was better to have cut it at that time than just put both of us.
I think mine, you're right, because we've heard from both ends and all that. So I think mine, like someone like me, I got married very early. Okay, very early, yes, that's a word, about 24. You're right.
Wow.
Yes, that was early. And over time, I had, at that point in time, I had my visions and all that. But because, I was also young, but being
Fully
young...
formed?
Yeah, not fully formed.
That's
not fully
the
formed.
part we don't get. Fully
Yes,
formed,
that's what I'm saying. But it was a journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But at that point, do you understand? Of course, it was my choices that got me to where I was at that point in time. So wrong choices that I made.
I like that sincerity.
No, that's
I like that.
Is key.
Yeah.
We make this very clear.
Very important.
Yes, very important. It was some wrong choices. And I got into it, and of course, I tried managing. And I want to believe, in quote, that the supposed, ex wasn't that bad either, right? He also has his good path. And then I have my own good part. Do you understand? That was the good part, And truly, I just have to say it, I want to believe that he was such a good giver. When I mean good giver and stuff like that, and had this, kind looking, whatever, like you said, that attracted and all that. But when you get in over time, you begin to see other things that probably did not align with what. Yes, it was quite.
Like he will be seen with you too.
Yes,
You know what
that's what I'm saying.
You know why
I
pushing things
no,
out.
No, I didn't push her. That's what I'm saying. That's no wait.
Why used to pushing things? The man was this. The man was that.
No
Who were we?
wait. Who were we?
Yeah.
Is the point of discussion. So I'm just trying to sometimes who we were finally unfolds itself as a result of the experiences that we are experiencing or encountering at that point. Or do you understand? You might not even have a full knowledge of who you are at that point in time.
Most times you don't.
Most times you don't. But it's when
Most
these
times.
things are playing to your face, you'll be like, I was in that relationship or that marriage for good 9 years. Right? And I could tell you in that 9 years, I lost myself.
Wow.
I could tell you I had no identity. I was busy living
For him.
Yes.
His life.
When you are, yes, you were busy living, I was busy living for him in a way. Oh, let's get this right. Oh, we can do this. Oh, keep suggesting, keep doing that, keep doing this. Like I said again, he has his own good path, right? And someone like me, maybe because I'm family oriented, go-getter, and all that.
Yeah.
So being a go-getter was a big issue for us.
Absolutely.
I is the outgoing person when it comes to, I need to get this done. We need to get this done. Do you understand? But he, I believe, preferred that I be that woman who stays back there. Yes, who stays back there at the background. Yes, and I make decisions and I just give you what is available to you and all that. I did it quite sometime. I did it. Really? Yes, I did that for a while. Yes, I actually did. So you can know my kind of person right now. I actually did. Like what I was trying to say. I actually did, but at the point that wasn't fitting. It wasn't fitting. You cannot put a square peg
in a rounded
hole or something, right? I tried to live that life whereby stay behind, don't just do anything, don't go to school, just stay. But it was such a boring life for someone like me who had a lot written already that I want to do.
Yeah.
But one thing that saved me at the point was that I had children, right? So I was just investing all that I am in my children. And it helped me at the point. See, and I also have believed that it was not all losses at all, right? Any relationship was very paramount because at the point my life was at risk. and if possible, his own life might also be at risk. When you start receiving what they call it abuses, at the point you might want to retaliate. Do you understand? Even if you don't have that will to do that, But I must say that he has his own good path. But it didn't just work because we're not just a match.
That's just it.
We're not a match. Gives us describe about what Pastor said about being
Size 10 and 12.
size 10 and size 12. That's what we're trying to say, that nobody is absolutely that bad.
Yes.
Do you understand? You just have your match. If you have your match, and this is what I'm saying out there to, maybe the younger generation or someone who hasn't gotten married yet, you could hear it, very loudly, right? It's important you find your match, right? Extremely important. And when you find your match, I want to believe that Queen Vashti found a match, but she did. She found a match. I want to believe that. That's what I want to believe.
But power got into
her.
Yeah.
And that's what we've seen that happen in most homes. Take it or you leave it.
Yeah.
So we're not looking at the man's aspect. I don't want to talk about what the man does or what he doesn't do. We're talking about how the woman is able to hold up a relationship and whatever. But if you are that person who is so young out there, it is important, very important, that you ensure that you have that fit. That fit does not actually mean that you have all to be on the perfect, but ensure that your values aligns. That's number one. The values. What do you respect? What do you value? What do you call disrespect? What's your deal breaker? Do you understand? So when you understand this, right? We're not saying it's going to be all that bread and butter, right? There's going to be a lot of ups and downs, right? Because you keep evolving, you keep getting to know yourself and all that. But it's important you just know what the match is first. I think that's a good way to start. You understand? Know if he's your friend, is your friend. Get to know that. Oh, we're on the same level. We'll continue like that and see yourself evolve and all that. So that's just the misplace of Vashti. And I think we've done a bit of justice to it. So my own part, I would say, is that apart from also discovering myself as the relationship runs, which I'm also saying thank you to my ex. Thank you, because a lot of the ups and downs also helped me grow. Yeah. I'm telling you the truth. It helped me a lot. Some things I overcame, I never knew my kind of person could have survived some things that I survived. Wow. Right. Yes. Wow. And that, I think, also enlarged my cause, or enlarged, the way I reason about life and stuff like that. So it was a good deal while it lasted and all that. But it's important, when we are making those choices, and get your choices right.
In the area, or in the issue of finding a perfect fit, if you're not a fulfilled single, you cannot be a fulfilled married person.
You can't give what you don't have.
Because the truth is this: marriage does not bring about fulfillment.
Yes.
So, in looking for your right fit,
you have
look for yourself first.
Find yourself
Identity.
Yes.
Who are you? What are your core values? What do you want? So it is when you know who you are, then you know what you want.
And I can tell you that's why we have so many broken homes and broken relationships.
Okay.
The truth is that if you don't take time to discover
me,
right? First, the me is what determines what you can give and what you can receive.
Exactly.
If you don't know me, is a deal breaker.
Have you realized?
You just have to realize.
Have you realized that there are some men who are women beaters, but they will date some ladies that they can never beat?
They can't touch. Yes.
Do you realize that?
They can't touch.
For me,
who would never touch? Why? Because of what they portray, what they display. He doesn't necessarily have to tell the guy that, come, you can't beat me. Oh. She displays it. He knows that. No. If I can do, if I can do everything with this person, this and this and this, I can't do.
Is it that because the woman responding?
I think
no, let me give you for instance. If you date a guy who you know is time conscious, right, and doesn't joke with time, I think if you have an important appointment with him, you don't need anybody to tell you that if you're not there in 2 hours or in an hour, that he won't be there waiting for you. He would have displayed it at some certain points for you to know that, when it comes to time, I'm a time-conscious person. I don't joke with time.
That does not tally.
It does not tally.
When I say it doesn't tally,
okay,
that when you say someone who abuses, so use the word abuse. someone who abuses a particular person can get married to another and won't be able to do that.
Character display. Let me give an
When you say
instance.
character display, so, no, let's bring reality to
Into
this.
it, okay.
Yes. I have always been a very confident child in myself. But like I said, I hadn't fully blown. What I mean blown, I didn't get to know the power. All I knew was that I'm someone who appreciates family or stuff like that.
That
and all
values
that.
of family.
Values of
Yeah.
families and all that. You know. But I could, because I wanted the relationship to see if it could continue. Like I said, I was giving it all
Because you were in it already.
I was on it, and I didn't like the idea, of being
out.
divorced. Yes,
Yeah.
I didn't want to be tagged that, like you will go for, and I didn't want that to be associated with my children. At the end of the day. But so if you say, I had my fault. I'm telling you the truth. Though. So my fault, like I was trying to say before, part of my fault was, or part of my own issues was like a Onigba kind of person. A Onigba does not mean I have power. I don't have physical, one single power I don't have. But I have mouth. Do you understand? In fact, after I had gone through some, process in life or some years with him, I had to change my pattern. I said, maybe if I stop talking, maybe I won't be receiving beating again. Not like I was that loud. Do you understand? But I know that if you do me bad, I will tell you, guy, you did this, But the point I had to just be quiet.
Well, how did you say it?
That's what we are saying. No,
you know one thing.
no, I just said it. I just said it. I made it very clear. As a part of my down path, and I also had evolved. That's part of my growth. Do you understand?
Okay.
That's Vashti. How were you able to address issues in your life? Did you come up front, announcing it before him, saying, guy, what's they worry you? You know that kind of, I'm not like I'm saying, but I'm just saying that attitude, you understand? Or were you able to, sit him down, which of course some of the exhibitions I had then, or some of the character traits, or dispositions I had then, I don't think I can do such a disposition. I can display such arts now. I can't.
Because you're more matured.
I can't. I'd rather walk away in the things that are not benefiting me, or a conversation that are not working for me
And
at that point in time. Or if I look at the environment, or I look at the state of the man, like they say, you don't match a logical thing with emotions. You deal with emotions with emotions, and you deal logically with logical. Do you understand? When the emotion is very tense, I learned that over time, right? Don't bring logic to it. Don't come and say, you don't know you're a man. You don't know, Now, I'm just using that as an example. How can you be coming back late? There's temper already. Everybody is vexing. You too, match it with emotions. I'm not saying, but I believe if we learn to answer questions sometimes like that.
It's not I believe. It's biblical. Soft answer. It's not soft answer.
Which is part of
it
what,
sounds a way
which is
rough,
part of
no matter how mad that person
which was
is.
part of my down path, right? Yes, of course it was abusive, but maybe if I had gone
If you knew better.
if I knew better to say,
say it in a better way.
yes, okay, guy, it's hard though. For example, somebody is coming back late often, and then I'll come and now start. But that's if you really want some things to work.
Yeah.
Just have to do it right. Even if I had said, guy, I don't think. No. Okay, that's fine. Can I get you water to bath? Maybe we'll talk about this tomorrow or something like that. You just try and just bury your own emotions at that point in time. Do you know what I mean? Your logic, experiences, or conversation you want to have, like this is not right or this is not wrong. Match emotion with emotion at that point in time, and then maybe revisit the matter when all the tension had dropped. So I think that was my own part of my downfall, and I think I evolved over time. I have grew, and I know better, and there are more to it, but we can't dive.
But sweetheart, you know the truth.
In 1 minute, just tell us how you have evolved.
I think that, primarily as a woman, understanding that you are created as a helpmate, it means that you may have your own goals in life, but if you are going to be doing a life journey with another person, you have to actually fit. Now, you have to understand that being a helpmate for somebody means that in their vulnerability, in their weakness, you can be strong. It is not just love them when they are perfect and all lovey-dovey and stuff, which is what happened with Vasti. She understood the power play, the role, the queen being, the holding her own banquet and stuff. But when it came to a time when the king was vulnerable and he made a decision that, was
She
not
thinks
really
was not right.
stately, she understand, in a position where he was not himself, she could not manage that part. The king was vulnerable at that time. She could have managed that situation better, brought him out of that entire situation, and then revisit the insult she felt about it later. She understand? So, for everyone, anybody that you want to do life with, look at it as a woman. Am I a fit helpmate for this person? In this person's weakness and vulnerabilities, can I be strong, put my own emotions aside, and just take charge to make sure that as a team we sail through that season? If you are not that person, there is no point going ahead with it.
Thank you, Wura. So let's have your last word, please.
Okay, you have a question for me?
No, not really. Just give us a roundup. Yes, how have you evolved, over time? You mentioned of, what your struggles, part of the things, that helped. That somehow you look back and regret. Like I had a regret about this. If I had known, I would have acted better.
Well, basically, one of the major ways I've really involved is the fact that I used to be a very blunt and a very confrontational person. Mm-hmm. I'm very blunt and confrontational. So I realized over time, well, maybe being raised among guys, males, right, made me a proper tomboy. Do you understand? Because I remember at some point a friend had to advise me in church and say, babe, if you want to see husband, be feminine. Do you understand? Dress like a female. No man wants to marry another man. Like, relax your muscles.
Drop all those muscles.
So one of the things I learned, just like you rightly said, was that I learned not to be too confrontational. I can't even tell you I'm 100% perfect, even in that journey, right? But the truth is that have transformed so well and that's because maybe because I had a kind of father who raised me that you could question. I could actually question my father. If I had troubles, I could wake my father up 2 a.m. and report to my mother that mom did this, mom did that, and he tries to explain to me. Do you understand? So if I can confront my father, it will take a lot of wisdom to balance things. So over time I realized that don't touch a man's ego. Like, don't go there.
Don't go there.
If you
whatever
go there,
it is, don't
you will
go
know
there.
there is no boy man. There's no boy.
There's no child. Like a boy man.
Do you understand?
There's no small child.
So if there's anything I ever learned, that is one of the things I learned.
Yeah.
That's how one of the ways I've actually evolved. I learned not to be. In fact, there was
So
an issue. Yeah, there was an issue I had lately with someone, and he's a man. The normal me. I won't talk to you over the phone. No, I will come and see you one-on-one. And
like,
I can look to you eyeball to eyeball. But you know, there's a way the Holy Spirit teaches you things. So I got to some point where some people began to confront me too. The same Bible said the same way you judge others or something shall be meted unto you. Because the pin you prick somebody else with, if they don't prick you with it, you don't know how it feels. Our high priest, Jesus Christ, Bible said he was felt with our same infirmities. So you know how to,
Thank you, Gabe. Thank you so much. Thank you, Wura. Thank you for spending time with us in this room, in this studio this day. And this brings us to the end of this episode. And I trust you've learned one or two. Last word for this particular episode is this. Like we all have said it from our stories or somehow, right? Ensure you're self-aware. Find and discover yourself before you get into another. You know yourself first. And what you don't have, truly and truly, you cannot give. And secondly, if you're already in there, already in the relationship, you can still make it work, right? When you look back and see, in a marriage relationship, and you look back at, is this things, can I really work this out? Look at yourself first and say, what am I doing that is sabotaging my marriage, right? And how can I be a better person to respond better and see if they could be better, changes from whatever it is that the man is doing, I think it will go a long way to preserve our marriages and our homes. Thank you, and trust me, you don't want to miss the next episode, because we're diving deeper into the story of Esther and how powerful women can be. Thank you.